Beacon.
Oh wow, I have to look him up. I just recently moved here actually. I was in the city, Brooklyn, and yeah, housing kind of got a bit intense, so I moved up here to get away from the city a bit. But how about yourself? Are you the West Coast, East Coast, or?
I live in Florida. I'm
Oh,
I'm
okay.
in I'm in North Carolina right now, but it doesn't suck if you can. I'm at a lake at a friend's house. Can you see that?
Oh yes, yeah. Oh wow, it's beautiful. Uh,
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. Um, so, how many? What is your podcast called?
well, it's called Uncontaminated Sounds.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Yes, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was just in order to get uncontaminated sound, I thought it was like somewhere to go to get. Oh, I guess he's calling that better sound. Well, good. That's a good name.
Well, I started the video podcast initially in December 2019, where I was physically going on location, talking in person, but due to obviously circumstances, I've expanded my reach, nationwide via video uh, conferencing software. But it's initially I started the project with stills. I was going backstage, capturing musicians, even comedians backstage, and intimate, candid shots. I'm a photographer, and that's where the series took off, was from my photographic work, and then I wanted to add a new layer to it by talking to really creative, interesting persons. So
I'll
uh,
try. I'll try to do that.
we'll see. I tried to like keep it casual conversations, kind of just unstructured, uncut. Just keep it
Uh-huh.
a casual conversation. Um,
Excuse me for making noise. I'm trying to improve my situation. Oh, that'll work better. Come on. That's a little better, I think. It's funny, when all the COVID stuff started, people started doing stuff from home. A lot of them were like always looking down, and the computer was on their desk. And then somebody thought, "Hey, I think I'll raise it."
that's
And
true.
and yours is almost at the right spot, but it's okay. It's fine. This
That's
is
true. Well, I'm still setting up my studio space here, which I do need probably need one more book underneath my laptop to
I'm,
perfect that.
I'm I'm using a chess set.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Are you an avid player yourself, or chess wise?
Uh, I can never find anybody, but yes, I am.
Ah, yeah.
It's
I
like
I attempt. I can't profess to be any good, but I'll play. But I versus somebody adept or mastery level, I would probably, in few moves, probably most likely lose. But um, haven't picked up that skill
good
yet.
enough. I usually win, but it's because I play people that aren't that good. But
Well, that's a good
Steve,
strategy.
Steve Martin and I played together in high school, chess all through our senior year,
Hmm.
and it was 85 to 88. I'm not sure who was ahead, but put myself down as president of the chess club. I was the only member of a non-existent club, and it was
Yeah,
my only credit in the yearbook.
yeah.
Would you like me to have a guitar?
If you so choose, I keep it free form. So
You're pretty open. You're not on a schedule.
no, no.
So give me a
Um,
couple of minutes over here, and I'll grab my guitar. You can keep. Uh, my fiddle and banjo are in the car.
Hmm.
So, what did you want to? How long do you plan on doing this? I mean,
Well, I
is it
generally, oh, the series or our conversation?
your show? How long is it? Is it open end?
Generally open, and conversations generally last like 45 to an hour, if you have that time, or um, it all depends on your schedule as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Uh, I've done about 25 or 20. You're number 22, I think.
Oh, wow.
Podcast in the last couple of weeks because I got some things to tell people. And it's nice that some people are interested. And got my guitar out. Oh, I don't have a chair without arms. I'll sit on the edge. Okay. So you're a photographer mainly?
Photographer and visual artist too. I paint and draw as well. Um, More painting during COVID comparatively to shooting live performances and going backstage, of course. But yeah, I'm a more visual artist, I would say, yes.
Uh-huh. You work by yourself only.
Generally, which is kind of yeah, it's kind of isolating. I would love to collaborate with people, and but I find with photography, it's generally photographers have their own vision of a project, and if you collaborate with somebody, their vision it kind of clashes with your vision, and I find it more of an isolated kind of pursuit. Same with more like painting as well. It's more of a personal kind of expression of and viewpoint of uh, the world, I guess. But uh,
Um, do you? How long have you been in Beacon?
just like probably 10 to 11 days.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
you are fresh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, I need to connect you with my one of my good friends. He became a friend after being a fan. I've known him since probably '75. Hired him to be a cameraman on a project.
Hmm.
And look, I could pay you $50 for 3 days, and it was 4 days, and it was $50. But because you ever heard of the Dillards, the group, the Dillards?
Fairly, I
They
can't
played the
profess
Darwin.
to.
They played the Darwin Family in the Andy Griffith Show, and they're the reason I started playing music. And I was making a documentary on them in the Ozarks, and he's a banjo player, and Doug Dillard was the banjo player of the time.
Hmm.
He says, "I'll pay you $50." I covered his expenses. He drove from Florida. Anyway, John Mark Fletcher has been a friend since the '70s, and he lives in Beacon.
Hmm.
And he's a very cool guy. He's, geez, he must be 62 now. How old are you?
35.
Perfect. You got a pencil?
I do. And I've been on this journey since like, yeah, 2017. I met her.
You know that when you shoot a picture, you own it. You know
Yes.
that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can shoot pictures of Mick Jagger and own it.
Yeah. And then kind of,
That'll change someday, but that's what it is for now.
yeah.
Okay, well, you want to start the interview?
Please. Yeah, I generally like to kind of, well, start beginning, middle, end kind of aspect. But if there's
Good
any
to have.
subjects that you would just like to touch upon too, like I said, I like to keep it free form, but I really like to kind of understand motivated you to pursue, say, banjo music for almost over half a century. And I'm fascinated with just creativity in the process. So when did you first when were you intrigued by the banjo or just music in general? Was
It
that?
started with my brother who passed away a couple of weeks ago, darn it. But he was my mentor at 17 years old, and he taught me how to play like that.
Mm.
About a couple of years, I couldn't do. I looked my bad nail. Anyway, and I've been doing that about 6 months,
Hmm.
and I went to see a group called the Dillards at a club in Orange County where I was living, in Garden Grove I was living, and I went to Tustin to see the Dillards, and I didn't know what I was going to see, and it just blew me away. The banjo player was so hot. He came up on stage, they just kicked off Hickory Hollow at lightning speed, and I just sat there. Oh my God, this is where I can. And they were so funny. They were the combination of Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs and the Smothers Brothers
Hmm.
all at the same time. They're extremely funny. Ozark humor, Mitch J. Anyway, that got me into it. Got me really into playing the banjo and the guitar. But then the banjo, 8 hours a day in college. That's what I was majoring in.
Wow.
I would play an easy 6 to 8 hours a day in the music room, in one of the practice rooms, or in my car, or the music store in McCabe's guitar shop figured in to why I went to Long Beach State College, because it was only about 10 blocks from McCabe's.
Hmm.
It was a guitar store to hang out in. And that's where I had gotten my first banjo
Hmm.
from. And a bunch of musicians were hanging out at McCabe's. And it wasn't like a big store. And it's hard to describe the simplicity. A coffee table, bookshelves with records and tapes on them, guitars on the wall, a coffee table regular size in front of you, guys, high school kids sitting around playing guitars. It's 1965 and 64 and 5. And you ever heard Shimmy Like My Sister Kate? It's got that funny chord in it. You know that one? Oh yeah, you can do that chord up here too. Oh, you go up here. Yeah, it's like learning a step at a time, a note at a time, trying to figure out what Doc Watson record you wanted to listen to try and be amazed at his playing of this blind guy from North Carolina
Hmm.
who, gee, I wonder if I'll ever meet him. And that was where the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band started.
Hmm.
I was teaching banjo there after a year or so.
Oh.
And what was your question?
Oh, just how you got into the banjo and just music in general, and unlike a technicality, in the process of playing, say, guitar versus banjo, is there a deep different, or like a really great divide in the same, or is it the same similar process of learning that instrument, I guess? But
Well, it's if you're playing one kind of music, it's kind of they're connected, they're different, but it's the same but different. It's
yeah.
that's why Earl Scruggs is also known as a really good guitar player for Carter style music,
Hmm.
Carter family music. He was really good at sounding like Maybelle Carter. and and he also did a lot of finger picking stuff. Like, dang it, I got to fix that fingernail. Ah. You edit this, right?
Uh, Generally, yeah.
You can.
Generally, I generally let it as is, but I can cut some stuff
This
out
will be
if you wish.
this will be a stop. Um, just a minute. Mercy. Okay, I'm back.
Hmm.
Just a minute. What is that? Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a similarity in certain styles of acoustic guitar and the banjo. And if you play one, you often do play the other.
Hmm.
So that helps out. Find a lot of banjo players out there that also play guitar. You don't find a lot of guitar players that also play the fiddle,
Hmm.
though. Are banjo players that also play the fiddle. They might play the mandolin,
Hmm.
but there's no rules.
Why? I guess what attracted you, or like more of like bluegrass or folk genre, comparatively, say, rock or something, rock and roll at the time? What was it about the genre and that really
I don't
attracted
know.
you?
On the radio at the time was like things like
Hmm.
two times baby or like yeah. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man.
Hmm.
And here I was playing the banjo, trying to figure out how to fit in. I wanted to get the banjo on the radio.
Hmm.
And I did it with some of Shelley's blues. I did it with several songs that came along years later. Uh, but also on the was on the radio were things like show me." Joan Baez had that hit, "There But for Fortune," and there were things like "Counting Flowers on the Wall" by the Statler Brothers, and radio was more open then, in the sense that there weren't 300 stations. There were three stations, maybe one or two, also in some cities that played music you like. And those one or two stations, they'd play. That was Flowers on the Wall. Following that, we had Aretha Franklin, and coming up next are the Beatles. They'd play everybody. They'd play, oh yeah, and later on we're going to play that new song, "Doing Banjos," and you you got to hear everything, and it was more exciting. It was more, it was better for the culture, I think.
Hmm.
And now with satellite radio, which I'm glad is around because I have my own Sirius XM show on the Village channel on XM.
Hmm.
Had it for 15 years, and with satellite radio, it's like, do I want to listen to the traditional bluegrass or the new bluegrass station? Do I want to listen to the uh, rock and roll classics before 1990, or are the ones are the rock and roll classics of 2010? Oh, wait a minute, there aren't any.
Well, touching upon that, like in a perspective, I guess. I mean, in these contemporary, where do you see music now comparatively to when you were like at the early stages of your career? And has music now lost its cultural value, I guess, or with all the digitization and a lot of it's a lot more like kind of dance and electro stuff, but in the popular mainstream. Do you think we've lost something these days comparatively to mid '60s, that time frame.
It's hard to be the one that is saying, I think it's this way.
Yeah, yeah.
But for me, I think that you find a lot of younger people that still love Beatles songs, that will still uh, tune into, like let's see, they'll know what that song. I think you know what that song is, right? Layla.
Oh, I was about to say Clapton.
Yeah. Either that or um, it's just that there's classic rock and roll is classic.
Mm,
And maybe it's just my old brain, but when I hear certain things come on, it's like, yeah, oh, there's Buffett. Oh, maybe it's because I met Jimmy Buffett when he was uh, living on his own in Aspen area and hadn't put out Cheeseburger in Paradise yet and was drawing two people a night. And but I Eagles music is absolutely great.
mm.
You know, it comes on and it's like, oh, good. Some of the new bands, I don't know. It's doesn't reach me often.
Mm.
I look at a Billboard chart and I don't recognize 90% of the names. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I feel like, yeah, I think some craft and like the art has kind of uh, dwindled to more of like more for like commercialism or getting known, or the attempts for stardom comparatively to sitting down and writing and understanding the history of the craft. And uh, though I've met some amazing musicians, contemporary musicians that are not on the popular charts, but are my age or younger, that respect the foundation of music, musical
have you
history.
seen, have you seen the movie Yesterday?
I have not. I don't. Is that a documentary or?
Yesterday. It's about a guy that's taking a bike ride at night and the lights go out all over the world. He gets hit by a bus.
Hmm.
He comes to, he's smashed up, he's in the hospital. He was a guitar player. He was going to quit. He was trying to make it playing, and I know, whatever. He comes out of the hospital. They give him a guitar. He plays the song Yesterday.
Hmm.
You know, yesterday, all my troubles. And at the end of it, his friends sitting around the table, one by one, go, "What a fantastic song! Where did you learn that song? What song?" And none of them had, none of them had ever heard of the Beatles.
Hmm.
It's by the Beatles. John Lennon. Who? Paul McCartney, John Lennon. Who? Who? The Beatles. Surely you know the Beatles, the beat, but it's all about Beatles music, and he starts. Long story short, he starts trying to remember every Beatles song, and because they hadn't heard any of them, he gets a record deal. It becomes popular, and the whole thing. But it shows you how powerful that music was.
Hmm.
That's a good thing about that movie.
Hmm.
Like, when I was younger, so much younger than today.
Yeah.
When I was younger, so much younger than today. I never needed anybody's help. And it's such a well-written song.
Hmm.
And I don't hear writing like that as much anymore. But boy, it's turning into a Beatles promotion, isn't it?
True.
But
um,
even with the Dirt Band, we would do "Get Back." We would do
hmm.
we do a couple of Beatles songs sometimes for fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing bluegrass.
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful music. Um,
Speaking of um, where did you kind of pull your songwriting from? Was it from personal experiences? I feel like folk in bluegrass is amazingly powerful storytelling tool, and I feel like the depths of emotion with it are something. Sorry, I went blank, but I guess what was your song? What is your songwriting process? I guess, or at the time, where were you pulling the lyrics from, or were you writing lyrics, or who? What was that process like? I guess.
What?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, Writing for me is a slow process. I'm not a prolific writer. I like things that I've written. I've written 3 word songs that I like
Hmm,
in 50 years, but that's because I like to write instrumental music.
hmm,
And that is a process that sometimes they come fast, like within hours, and sometimes I work on something for a week, 2 weeks. Oh, I'm going to add this to it, whatever. And I play guitar, fiddle, mandolin, and banjo, and a lap slide guitar, which is a little lap guitar you play like that, like a
hmm.
dobro. And one time I used a koto, a Japanese instrument, because I'd written this song that I had this sound that sounded like a koto would fit there. Oh, maybe I could use that koto that guy gave me 10 years ago. It's
Yeah.
hanging on the wall over there. And I got it down from the wall, tuned it up, stuck it on a track. But I don't know where they come from. I try to let them come.
Hmm,
Written about 24 songs that are good.
hmm,
One of the first ones I wrote with my brother. My brother was a great manager, producer, visionary type. My brother, William E. McEuen, whose name you'll see at the top of the album of Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, the comedian Stephen Wright, the comedian Steve Martin,
hmm,
um, the Pee Wee Herman movie, Pee Wee's Big Adventure,
hmm.
and he made 9 feature films. I don't know why I'm getting sidetracked by my brother, but that's okay because he he produced the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album. You familiar with that record?
Uh, Not too
Will
familiar.
the Circle Be Unbroken album. It's a white record.
John, you're kind of just breaking
Pardon?
up. You kind of froze on
Can
me
you?
for a sec.
Okay. Well, can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can hear you. The video was a bit choppy. Uh,
Okay. Are you? Yeah, I was saying something on my screen. I just kept going. So, have you heard Will the Circle Be Unbroken? You familiar with that record?
I am not. I can't say I am. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
A bit, yes. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Or
Yeah. Well, the Circle Be Unbroken was a dream I had in 1970. Maybe someday I can record with Earl Scruggs. And that came about because in 1965, my brother took me to see the Grand Ole Opry together with him. I was 19, he was 24.
hmm,
There was no Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Lester Flatt introduced Maybelle Carter and said, Earl and I'd like to bring out Maybelle Carter to do the Wildwood Flower. And Maybelle Carter came out, and I said to myself, I'm going to record with those people someday. And I didn't have a band. I played banjo, and I was a geek. I was a nerd.
hmm.
I was a geek, a nerd, and a dork all at once. Ugh. But I got back to LA. We drove back to LA, and the Dirt Band was 5 years later. We're in the studio with Maybelle Carter, Doc Watson, Earl Scruggs. And the album that I helped start by asking Earl Scruggs and Doc Watson to record and having them say yes, and having Earl ask Jimmy Martin and Maybelle and Bill getting Merle Travis. The album came together 8 weeks later, and we recorded 34 songs.
Oh, wow.
Simple questions of, Earl, would you want to record with Nitty Gritty Dirt Band? Well, I'd be proud to. You know, hey, Mr. Watson, it's very nice to meet you. I've always admired you. We're making an album with Earl Scruggs. Would you like to be part of it? Well, sounds like a good thing to me. Give me a call. And things just came together where 8 weeks later, we recorded 34 songs in 6 days.
Wow. It's impressive. Wow.
It was fantastic. It was Bill took that and made it a 3 record set, called it Will the Circle Be Unbroken, made a beautiful cover, shot all the pictures in it, all the wonderful photography, and put Hall of Fame. And as of yesterday, it was #2 on one Amazon chart and #1 on another one.
Wow.
50 years later. And it's like, when I get in the music business, I just hope I can make one record that lasts a long time. Well, this lasted a long time. And people should get it because Christmas is right around the corner. And it's a wonderful Christmas present. I remastered it in 2003 and added 4 songs, photos, and liner notes. And it's a really, really neat package, even available on LP.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Doc Watson, Earl Scruggs, Roy Acuff, Merle Travis, Maybelle Carter, Baxter Clements. Anyway, I got off on a sales pitch there.
Not an issue, not a problem whatsoever. Speaking of collaborations, I mean, looking back, you've collaborated with, the greats. Is there any particular collaboration that stands out, or that was, I don't know how you could decide, but that was really special to you?
Yeah, I made a DVD with Paul Williams called Going Back There Someday. It's on AIX Records. Paul Williams is a songwriter. He wrote We've Only Just Begun and things like that. He's the president of ASCAP right now. He's a very well-known songwriter. And I put him together with Willie Nelson to do Rainbow Connection. And that is a magical video, audio. I recorded it live with 5 cameras shooting them.
Wow.
And I had Paul Williams and Gonzo, the Muppet, do I think I'm going to go back there someday. This looks familiar, vaguely familiar. I don't remember and just like Rainbow Connection was. And do you have video?
You're kind of free. It's been a bit choppy but you're clearing up now.
Okay. And that's one of my favorite collaborations. Other than that, the Circle album was wonderful. The Steve Martin album in 2010, we won a Grammy for that.
Oh, wow.
I produced Steve's album, The Crow, which is an incredible collection of his music. That is, I got some really good players on it, being the producer, so it was fun. It was I want to collaborate with. Someday I hope John Fogerty gives me a call, and he's one of my favorite singers. Paul McCartney is the other, so there. Well, you think for a minute, and I'll mention a couple things, okay?
Yeah, of course.
The thing that's exciting to me about COVID is that I'm forced to come up with something. Something. I've written two songs.
Mm,
I worked on some ideas. I got interest in a few books. I have a book about the Circle Be Unbroken album. The Circle, the 50th year of the Circle album will be 2022.
oh wow.
And I've got all the photos and stories and stuff. It's going to be a three-section book. First section is early Dirt Band leading up to the Circle album. Next section is the album and all the photos from the session, which are not in the album cover. And the third section is what happened, things from known players, that how it affected them. And another album is a spoken word album with things like, did you ever sit straight up in bed with something circling around your head? It's what it is as it whizzes by, and it's just one pesky little fly. You know, just
Yeah, wow.
Hank Williams song
Hmm.
uh, from 1948. Then there's some things that I wrote let's see, what is it? Well, you got trouble, my friends. Trouble right here in Rivers. You know that saying, but it was trouble, my friends. Trouble right here in Music City with a capital M, and that rhymes with N, and that stands for Nashville. Would you like to know what kind of talk goes on while they're loafing around that studio? They'll be trying out fuzz tone and delay and bragging all about how they're going to cover up a banjo lick with a power chord. You know, and it's a funny song. And there's a couple of wonderful things in there, but it's spoken word with music behind it. Some of the music is like that's for a poem about a letter from the Civil War from a soldier writing to his sweetheart.
Oh wow.
You know, and it's a very touching letter. Anyway, that's one project, and there's a couple other things that are cooking. One is 200 photos, 200, I haven't, maybe 220 of Russia in 1977.
Mm,
Nitty Gritty Dirt Band was the first American group to go to the Soviet Union. And um, I want to tell that story with all these photos and take people back there.
mm.
Tell them what it was like and how lucky I have felt since then. I felt lucky to go too, but lucky to get home.
Yeah, yeah. um, I guess like over all these years, what propelled you to continue? Um,
Why not?
was there any point where things got stagnant, or you just loved the craft and kept on going? Um, did you ever hit a point where like
I
maybe
wrote
you
my
wanted to
best
take a break?
song during the, I wrote my best song when Miners Night Out. It's called Miners Night Out on the Dirt Band bus during a very stagnant time. We were going across Kansas back to Denver, and I'm back in the back of the bus. I tuned my banjo to the. Did you lose video connection?
Uh, just for a second, but you're back.
During a dirt band trip, I was back in the back of the bus. I tuned my banjo to the engine, the motor. It was like rumbling along. You know, like it was a B note.
Mm.
So I tuned my banjo down to B and to a minor key, and I wrote Miner's Night Out. And so that was a good thing. I'm glad we were having a bad night. I made it a good night. I got to Denver. I said, well, I wonder what kind of song they might have played in the mountains at the end of a day of mining. The banjo player would have sat around and maybe like that.
Mm.
And it just built up to where by the time I got to Denver, I had the complete song. It's one of my best recordings, and so that was a dark time. It's thanks to my mother, who was always when she had her stroke, she would come in and visit my right side. My left side's not working. You know, she'd say things like that.
Hmm.
She'd say things like, or is Maybelle Carter, keep on the sunny side. You know, keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help you every day. It will brighten all our way. If we keep on the sunny side of life. And that's one of the songs I wanted to record on the Circle album with Maybelle, and we did it. Thank you, Maybelle. Maybelle. Sorry for the noises, but do you hear that when my computer goes long, long?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Not an issue. I mean, that's what I expect with the virtual realm now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because here's what it sounds like with that audio off.
ooh,
You
yeah.
can't hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah. um, Looking back, you've basically accomplished so much, you know, in a, you know, and ingrained yourself into the cultural, you know, uh, basket of music history and Americana, and you were inducted into the Banjo Museum Hall of Fame, and the list goes on and on. Is there anything that you still haven't, or in your eyes, still haven't accomplished, or
Oh man,
yeah, I
I
guess.
haven't I haven't gotten an Oscar. I hope to get nominated for a for an Oscar with a piece of music that I wrote. That's the best piece of music. It's a film score.
Hmm.
I can't play it on the guitar, but it's a piano song. And but I have a good album to make. I think
Hmm.
one or two more, and I have some writing I want to do.
Hmm.
And there's still some things, and I don't feel like I've done anything. I feel like yeah, I've got some Grammys, and I've got some other awards, but they really just mean I'm in the business.
Hmm.
If you're in this business and you're trying to do things that people like, oh, good, somebody recognized that, and they gave me this little piece of paper that says, in memory or whatever, you know, congratulations for.
Yeah, yeah.
And the problem with that is it'll have a year on it. And it might say 1975 or 85 or 95 even or 2000 and whatever. And you don't want to, you wish they didn't have a year on them. But they're good to have.
Hmm.
The recognition, I never feel like it's really there because I'm just me. I just go around and I play and travel with my wife and uh, when we're not home. And if I say to somebody, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, oh yeah, I love them. I really like them. You know, well, yeah, that was me for 50 years, and thank you. But I don't bring that up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have a nice career. I play for I was playing before COVID to 300 to 12 to 1,500 people in performing arts centers.
Hmm.
And that was real nice on the solo front. Um, but that's with a show that is sold and done well and promoted and all that. And as far as recognition, the place I'm in at a friend's house today in North Carolina, a guy came to fix the air conditioner and there's chit chat and the host brought up Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I didn't.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't do that. Yeah, I'm with the Dirt Band. Come on in. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not with the Dirt Band. I left them 3 years ago
Hmm.
after 50 years, and it's in the book, by the way, The Life I've Picked, which is really a fun book.
Hmm.
And it's the life I picked is a good story, I think. I say that. I didn't say that the first year it was out. If you just go to Amazon and read the reviews, you'll see that other people are saying that. I had to wait to find out. But anyway, so the guy comes to the front door. And after talking several minutes, he goes, "Oh yeah, that Dance Little Jean song." He names a song, and he doesn't know what he did to me. What he did to me is, oh my God, somebody that knows Dance Little Jean. Well, yeah, John, it was a country hit. Yeah, but they don't know the story behind it. Jimmy Ibbison was out of the Dirt Band in the late 70s. He'd written the song. We were doing duo shows. I'd hire him and me and do maybe a dozen or 2 dozen a year of just the two of us. And one trip we started doing Dance Little Jean. I played a wedding for the money. You know that song? Maybe you don't. I was the bride and groom. What I think about marriage, what's in store after the honeymoon. And we were doing that song with just the two of us, and it was going over like a hit. People were singing along on the second verse. Jimmy, you got to get back on the Dirt Band. Really, come on. You've been gone for 10 years. You're going to get back in. We need you. You're the best voice we've ever had. You're writing great songs. Anyway, he gets back in, and sure enough, it becomes a top 10 country hit. That was 1981. 91, 01, 11. Now, that's 40 years ago.
Wow.
40 years ago, 40-year-old song, and the guy at the front door who doesn't was saying, "Oh, I love that song." He brought it up.
Hmm. Wow.
It's rare that people bring up that song. Well, it's not anyway. And I thought that was a real privilege. I thought that was, oh, good. Glad you got it. So, well, just lost the connection.
Oh yeah, yeah. It kind of breaking up. I think that kind of speaks, you know, volumes to your work as lasting art. You know, you know, comparatively to just you know, I would say, you know, like contemporary music kind of cycles, like you have a popular hit and then dies down, but your work, your breadth of work is lasting, and it's proven. So the cultural lexicon, I guess, if that.
That's what I like about instrumental music is it seems like it could last longer because it's not tied to picking a topic that is maybe dated.
Mm.
You know, you and me all alone in a place at 2 o'clock, or, you know, that captured a certain era, but um, like Western music is about Western music, but instrumental music does not have a timestamp on it.
Mm.
You can write something new and try to make it sound old, and that's fun. Anyway, thank you, by the way.
Um, well, just a couple more points, I guess. One is you went to the high school with Steve Martin, and
Yeah.
did you pick up the banjo before him, or did you both kind of pick up the banjo at the same time? Or?
Guitar. We were working in the magic shop. We came home to my house. Steve came by. My brother's in the living room with a friend that owns a music store. The friend does, the McCabe's guitar shop in Long Beach.
Mm.
And he's playing banjo. And he knew maybe 5 or 6 songs. I found out later he knew them rather poorly, but he was playing the banjo.
Yeah.
And Steve and I are sitting there watching him. We're 18 years old, no, 17 years old, going, wow, that is really cool. And Steve says to him, knowing he owns a music store, he goes, well, how much is a good used cheap banjo? You know, how much
Mm,
is a good used cheap banjo? Steve ended up buying that banjo from him a few years later,
mm,
but he ended up getting another one. And that's when it was around the time we both started playing. I went to see the Dillards. Uh, we were in high school. We were graduating. It was kind of foggy, yeah. And I started learning quicker than him.
mm.
I could somehow pick things off records quicker than him. And I would show him, and he'd learn half of it. And okay, I got it. I got enough. I got enough. And, he'd go off and figure out the rest, kind of. But he's always said that I taught him how to play,
Mm.
or I think I appreciate that. But we never thought it would lead anywhere.
Mm.
We thought it was fun. And yeah, it was fun. It still is. It's a different fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sitting, having lunch. Okay, that is this is 86. 25 years later, up in the early 90s, I guess, or yeah, having lunch in Beverly Hills in 94ish or somewhere around there. And we're not saying much because we're just astonished. And I'm just saying, Steve, it's really unbelievable, you know? He goes, yeah, it's really hard to believe. Now, keep in mind, by 94, Steve had King Tut, uh, 6, 7 movies,
Mm.
uh, sold 10 million records, stuff like that. I'd been
Yeah.
in a dirt band and worked with other people. And yeah, we started in Orange County. Uh, you were at least the cheerleader. I was a dork. And you're hosting the Oscars tomorrow. And you know how ridiculous that'd be, Steve, to say someday you're going to host the Oscars. And 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I bet that you pay me $10,000 if you host the Oscars, you would have taken me up on that.
Mm.
And I'll pay you whatever. He was hosting the Oscars. And it was like incredible because we started 25 miles south and now you're hosting. It's just, I couldn't get over it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I think I said, I think you'll do good. I think you'll do well.
Mm.
And he
Wow.
says, yeah, I hope I do. I think I'm going to give it a shot. Anyway, so that's the Steve Martin story, I guess. I
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
told.
That's perfect. Wow. Yeah.
And then in 2010 to produce his album and win a Grammy, that was really exciting.
Mm.
I thought it was really good. I pulled every string I had to pull. Got Dolly Parton and Vince Gill to sing on one song,
Wow.
and Gary Scruggs to help Steve, the one co-write, help Steve write Daddy Played the Banjo. What better person to get as a co-writer than the son of Earl Scruggs? Steve, I think Gary should help you with that. Oh, um, anyway, that worked out.
Wow.
All Steve Martin songs.
Well, I guess for kind of like a final or wrap up question, any advice to younger singer songwriters, string instrumentalists, musicians out there? I guess.
Uh, yeah, get out. Yeah, really enjoy what you do. Realize it's a special thing if you can do it. It's not meaning that you're special. It just means that that's what's come in front of you that seems to be easy. Well, use it. Take it as far as you can. Don't let drugs and alcohol get in the way and derail you from your dream of getting known.
Mm.
If you feel like you can write music and you are, well, do it because new stuff has to come from somewhere. Realize that it takes work, it takes hours a day.
Mm.
I'm 74 years old. I'm doing an interview with you. I should be in my castle somewhere.
Sure.
Not in a castle, but I really like doing this, and I'm glad you were interested. But to a young player, yeah, sing. If you don't sing, you don't know how good you are. If you do sing, you still don't know how good you are because other people will have a different opinion than you do. And nobody sings or plays like you. Nobody sings or plays the same as you. That's why Bob Dylan was able to make it. How many times does a man look at? He found a voice, a way of singing that is wonderful.
Mm.
And anyway, don't do any one thing. If you play the guitar, spend some time playing the bass or a mandolin. If you play a violin, spend some time playing a cello.
Mm. Yeah.
Just open your mind up a little bit. And yeah, that's it.
Any
Hang,
last
hang
re-
around people that play.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, if somebody is depressed or down, get out of town. Leave them behind.
Mm.
If it's your brother or your sister. And be aware that people are going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or "You can't do that," or "That's no good." People are always insulted. They're um, intimidated by somebody doing something, and because they're not doing it.
Mm.
But if you get around other people that are trying to do stuff, you find out that you'll find some people. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't mean to kind of interject myself. I just wanted to ask
Well, you
any.
are the interviewer.
Well, I like to kind of sit back and let your people talk. I don't like to jump in, and I don't like the just Q and A.
What was on your mind?
Well, I was just seeing if you had any personal last remarks, anything current or upcoming that maybe I don't want to say promotional, but I don't know. Any
Well,
last remarks? What's that?
why not? This is a promotion world.
True. Yeah.
Things I mentioned, the
Yeah.
Circle Be Unbroken is
Mm.
coming into its 50th year, and it's still brand new sounding. It's a capturing of time. It's a document of a session that happened over a 6-day period when a bunch of young hippies went to Nashville and recorded with a bunch of country icons.
Mm.
Maybelle Carter was 62 years old when she did that record. It
Wow.
seems like she's ancient,
Yeah.
Now, 62, I wish I was 62 again.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, Earl Scruggs was 57 or 8 or no, 47. I was only 24. It was a big generation gap. There are 3 generations on that record. And it was a good thing. What was your question?
It was just any last remarks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, buy my book. Buy my book, The Life I Picked.
Mhm.
It's a. Do you? Oh, here's my guitar. Pretty cool, huh?
Oh
Oh,
wow, it's beautiful. Yeah.
I'll be right back. Made in South Africa. And coming back. I should have been ready. I made an album called Made in Brooklyn.
Mm.
It's recorded with one microphone, up to 14 people.
Wow.
It's got a great list of people. Andy Gessling from the band Railroad Earth. He's no longer with us. Played with me for 5 years. John Carter Cash. Yeah, I should be. I just want to make sure I get them all. Jay Ungar, David Bromberg. David Bromberg comes to your town, Beacon sometimes.
Mm.
David Amram, John Cowan, uh, Steve Martin plays on a cut, also Martha Redbone, and it's wonderful. This is a book I've been hyping, and not a friendly guy on that cover.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of great photos in it. Things like it's me and Sissy Spacek and Space Check.
Oh, wow.
Leon Russell stories. It's amazing. Oh gosh, Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard.
Wow.
Oh, that was a good story. Eddie Rabbitt and Gary Hart, the guy that ran for president.
Hmm.
Gary Hart in the '80s, till he got into too much monkey business. But so you know what that means? Too much monkey business.
I get it.
He said he was set up with the hooker, and it didn't matter. They got a picture of him with a hooker in Florida in the middle of his presidential run. Kind of
wow.
stopped
Yeah.
right after I spent 3 days with him.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fun story. Leon Russell's a fun story. Anyway, so that's about it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, sir. It was an honor to speak with you, and thank you for taking the time to have this discussion.
You're welcome. I appreciate your time. It's a good thing to get the word out about various things.
Oh, yes.
And I enjoy looking at your New York apartment.
Well, it's I'm still trying to figure things out, but yeah, I see where things go in Beacon.
And
this.
you've only moved in for 9 days or 10 days?
Yes, yeah.